Do you use a refrigerator to keep your food cold? However, the Mennonites, who live with traditional methods and a completely nature-friendly philosophy, have been successfully preserving their food without a refrigerator for years. Since they minimize the use of technology, they meet their cooling needs with the methods provided by nature. Throughout this video, we will explore how the Mennonites preserve their food, how they keep their food fresh with nature-friendly methods, and which traditional techniques they use for cooling in their daily lives. 1. The power of well water. Did you know that Mennonite communities often use well water to keep their food cool? Well water, which comes from deep underground, remains cold even in hot weather. Mennonites take advantage of this natural coolness to chill their food and drinks. They keep food and drinks stored in large ceramic containers or metal cans submerged in well water to keep them cold throughout the day. Well water is a natural source of groundwater and is generally cooler than surface water. This water, coming from deep underground, is less affected by temperature changes. Mennonites use well water not only as drinking water but also to keep their food cool. The coolness of well water is a great advantage, especially in summer. This method reduces energy consumption and keeps food fresh without harming nature. 2. The coolness of cellars. Mennonites use cellars as another way to keep their food cool. Cellars, located next to the house or built underground, function as ideal cold storage thanks to the coolness of the soil, without direct sunlight. Perishable foods such as meat, dairy products, fresh fruits, and vegetables are stored in these cellars. Cellars maintain their coolness even in the summer heat. Cellars have been used for food storage throughout history in many cultures. Mennonites continue this tradition by using underground cellars to store food. Cellars provide a cool environment inside by taking advantage of the natural insulation properties of the soil. This is ideal for perishable foods such as meat and dairy products. The coolness of cellars keeps food fresh for longer and eliminates the need for a refrigerator. 3. Ice water wells and natural streams. Mennonites use natural sources such as streams or ponds to keep their food cool. Especially in summer, they keep their food in metal containers in streams. The water provides a cool environment for dairy products and meat that need to stay cold. At the same time, food kept in the water with the cold currents of the streams becomes one of the freshest cooling methods nature offers. Natural streams and ponds are natural cooling sources for Mennonites. These water sources remain cool even in summer and prevent food from spoiling. Mennonites use these natural sources to reduce energy consumption and preserve their food without harming nature. The cold currents of the streams keep the food fresh, making this method one of the most effective cooling methods nature offers. 4. Naturally insulated containers. Mennonites use special containers that are durable and provide insulation. Ceramic and clay containers keep the temperature of the food longer. The food stored in these containers stays cooler, thus lasting longer without spoiling. Ceramic and clay containers keep the temperature of the food longer thanks to their natural insulation properties. These containers keep the food fresh for longer and reduce the risk of spoilage. Mennonites use these containers to naturally preserve their food and reduce energy consumption. This method is both an economical and ecological sustainable solution. 5. Ice houses and storage areas. In some Mennonite communities, ice houses, an old method, are used. Large ice blocks cut in winter are stored in insulated areas and used on hot summer days. These ice blocks provide a cool environment in the food storage areas. Ice houses have been used for food storage throughout history in many cultures. Mennonites continue this tradition by storing large ice blocks cut in winter in insulated areas. These ice blocks keep the food cool in summer and reduce the risk of spoilage. Ice houses reduce energy consumption and preserve food without harming nature. 6. Preserving with salt. Salt is not only a spice for Mennonites but also a natural preservative. The method of preserving food such as meat, fish, and cheese by salting is a technique frequently used by this community. Salt delays the spoilage of food and prevents the growth of bacteria. Mennonites use this old method to preserve their food both deliciously and healthily. The method of preserving with salt has been used for food storage throughout history in many cultures. Mennonites continue this tradition by salting foods such as meat, fish, and cheese. Salt delays the spoilage of food and prevents the growth of bacteria. This method keeps the food fresh for longer and reduces the risk of spoilage. 7. Drying method. Mennonites can store fruits and vegetables for a long time by drying them. This drying process reduces the water content of the food and prevents spoilage. Food dried under the sun or in a cool place is naturally preserved. The drying method has been used for food storage throughout history in many cultures. Mennonites continue this tradition by drying fruits and vegetables. The drying process reduces the water content of the food and reduces the risk of spoilage. This method keeps the food fresh for longer and reduces the risk of spoilage. 8. Fermentation techniques. Fermentation is another old method used to prevent food spoilage. Mennonites preserve vegetables by fermenting them. For example, fermented products such as sauerkraut stay fresh for a long time and are rich in probiotics, making them healthy. Fermentation is a process that naturally preserves food. This method prevents food spoilage and makes it rich in probiotics. Mennonites use this method to ferment vegetables and keep them fresh for a long time. Fermented products also provide many health benefits, which is why they are frequently preferred by Mennonites. 9. Storing underground. Mennonites preserve some foods by storing them underground. Root vegetables such as potatoes, carrots, and onions stay fresh for a long time when stored underground. This method naturally preserves the food and reduces the risk of spoilage. The method of storing underground has been used for food storage throughout history in many cultures. Mennonites continue this tradition by storing root vegetables underground. This method naturally preserves the food and reduces the risk of spoilage. The soil keeps the food cool, making it an ideal storage environment for root vegetables. 10. Wooden boxes and crates. Mennonites store their food using wooden boxes and crates. Wood is a natural insulation material and keeps the temperature of the food. These boxes and crates keep the food fresh for longer and reduce the risk of spoilage. Wooden boxes and crates have been used for food storage throughout history in many cultures. Mennonites continue this tradition by using wooden boxes and crates. Wood is a natural insulation material and keeps the temperature of the food. This method keeps the food fresh for longer and reduces the risk of spoilage. 11. Natural cooling techniques. Mennonites keep their food cool using natural cooling techniques. These techniques include storing food in the shade, keeping it in areas where cool breezes blow, and using natural insulation materials. Natural cooling techniques reduce energy consumption and preserve food without harming nature. Mennonites use these techniques to keep their food cool and reduce the risk of spoilage. These methods provide both economical and ecological sustainable solutions. These traditional methods can also be applied in the modern world and play an important role in sustainable living. These nature-friendly methods reduce energy consumption and preserve food without harming the environment. The philosophy of Mennonite life shows that it is possible to live in harmony with nature and build a sustainable future.